Kanpur is considered the leather hub of India. At one point of time, the city was flourishing with 400 tanneries here producing leather. Now, with a sharp decline in tanneries, there are around 150 to 200 left here.
Inside Kanpur's Jajmau area, multiple tanneries throw up a pungent stomach-churning stench, but also provide employment to thousands of people. But in the last few years, many have shifted their business to Bengal and elsewhere after tighter pollution control norms. A big jump in the cost of tannery waste treatment and orders drying up.
और इन लोगों को थोड़ा अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजार में जो मंदी चली है उसका बहुत बड़ा फर्क पड़ा है। अगर इसमें सरकार सहयोग दे या कोई बेल पैकेज दे सरकार तो ट्रेनियां चल सकती हैं।
गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कुछ सपोर्ट मिल जाए, कुछ सहयोग मिल जाए तो आज भी इंडस्ट्रीज चल सकती हैं और मतलब पॉल्यूशन के साथ और बिजनेस के साथ समन्वय बना करके चलाया जा सकता है।
भारी संख्या में आप देख सकते हैं।
The Bharatiya Janata Party won Kanpur for the first time in the 1991 Lok Sabha election, coinciding with the Ram Temple movement peak. The Congress won the seat between 1999 and 2014. In 2014, BJP stalwart MM Joshi won from Kanpur, and the BJP retained the seat in 2019 with a different candidate. The party has changed its candidate this time too. Ramesh Avasthi is a former journalist turned politician.
मुझे लगता नहीं कि कहीं उनसे कोई मेरी टक्कर है और ये आज गठबंधन है। उसके बाद आगे आप हासिल देखें तो जनता ने मान लिया है ये गठबंधन नहीं, ये सिर्फ ठगबंधन है। मतलब हमको ठगने के लिए आ जाते हैं। माननीय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की जो जनहित की योजनाएं हैं वो घर घर तक गई हैं।
Against Ramesh Avasthi is Alok Mishra of the Congress, a close aide of party veteran Salman Khurshid.
हवा इंडिया गठबंधन के पक्ष में है। कानपुर में कांग्रेस बहुत ताकतवर है। 400 पार बिल्कुल सही बोल रही है। वो ये नहीं कह रही 400 सीटें पार, वो कह रही है 200 रुपए किलो जो अरहर की दाल बिक गई वो 400 पार, 200 रुपए लीटर जो कड़वा तेल बिक गया वो 400 पार।
In Kanpur's coaching hub Kakadeo, paper leak and the lack of government jobs are a big poll issue.
प्रिपरेशन करते हैं, सब चीज़ करते हैं। जैसे ये बोल रहा था पेपर लीक हो जाता है उसके बाद, और पेपर लीक होने के बाद फिर कैंसिल हो जाता है, फिर नेक्स्ट वैकेंसी कब तक आ रही है, ऐसे करते करते 1-2 साल चले जाते हैं। उसके बाद फिर लड़कों बच्चों के लिए एज के लिए लड़ना पड़ता है कि हम लोगों को रिलैक्सेशन मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा। तो सबसे ज़्यादा दिक्कतें तो हम ही लोगों को हो रही हैं।
Roli Gudia, one of only 126 third gender voters in Kanpur, was allotted a home during Mayawati's tenure as UP Chief Minister between 2007 and 2012, but says that the road to real empowerment has been long-winded.
राजनीतिक पार्टी तो आज तक कोई हम लोगों के बारे में कुछ सोचा नहीं है। नहीं, बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी भाई, क्योंकि जब तक जैसे कि हमारा कोई पुरुष जीत रहा है, ठीक है, तो अपने पुरुषों के लिए वो ज़्यादा कार्य करता है। जैसे कि हमारी महिला जीत रही कोई तो अपने महिलाओं के लिए वो सोचती है। तो हम लोग भी यही सोचते हैं कि जैसे हम किन्नर हैं तो अपने किन्नर समाज के लिए ही कुछ करें।
Before the 2014 elections, the Congress won continuously for 3 times. But in 2014, it was Murli Manohar Joshi who became the member of parliament from here, and in 2019, it was Saddev Pachori. If the BJP manages to win one more time from Kanpur, it will be its hat-trick. But can Congress make any dent in the BJP's plans for hat-trick? We will only know when the people will answer on 4th of June. With camera person Virendra Kumar Saini, Arun Asif and Tanish Punjabi for NDTV.
Switching tracks now, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar has spoken to NDTV about the work paper released by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister on decreasing Hindu population between 1950 to 2015. He says this revelation raises many questions on the growth of a certain community and links it to the vote bank politics. Listen in.
Joining us now is Rajiv Chandrasekhar, MOS IT and Skill Development. Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar, for speaking to NDTV. So we've seen this report by the PM's Advisory Council on the Hindu population declining by at least 7% from 1950 to 2015. You have tweeted, you have posted on X about matters such as illegal immigration and also conversion. How big are these concerns?
No, I think it's not a question of whether it's big or small. I think certainly the report reveals that there have been some pretty significant changes to our demography and makeup of our population in the last few years, few decades. And some questions do arise because the rate of growth of one particular community is obviously higher than many of the other communities. And therefore, some questions do arise from it. I put this out for people to think about and talk about. First question is, how has this happened? What is the cause for one community to grow much faster than any other minority community or indeed the majority community? Is there any connection to illegal immigration? Is there any connection or correlation to conversion? So this is something that I think we should all think about and examine, and have maybe some people in the government examine this. The second question that arises from this is, when one minority community grows so much faster than other minority communities, is there a risk that the other minority communities like Parsis and Jains and Buddhists and Sikhs and Christians are crowded out from the benefits and the schemes that are designed for minorities, from education, from jobs to opportunities? So therefore, there is a legitimate question that needs to be asked. What is the status of the other minority communities which are not growing so fast? Are they being deprived, or do they still have access to these to the protection under the constitution? And the third is the most very important in the context of this debate on reservations, is that when one minority community, the Muslims, are growing so fast, and a political party like the Congress is talking about going against the constitution and giving that same community more reservations, which is totally against the constitution, what then happens to the other communities in India which have been deprived for so many decades, the OBCs, the SCs, the ST community, brothers and sisters? What happens to them if on one hand you have the Muslim community grow so fast and they are being promised reservations? So what happens to the opportunities? What happens to the growth and development of these, the OBC, SC and ST brothers and sisters? Is again, I think, a legitimate question that this report is causing people to talk about and think about. So there are these questions, I think, as we look to the future of India, as we look to a Viksit Bharat, these are legitimate questions that arise from this report. And I hope the people, through the prism of opportunistic politics, but through the prism of really planning for the future of India in a much more inclusive way, where everybody has opportunities, considers these questions and looks for answers.
Now, May 11th will be observed as Technology Day. Now we delve into the intersection of technology and healthcare, a realm where innovation is saving lives and shaping a healthier future for all. In Bengaluru, team Bariga Swasth India encountered one such groundbreaking startup poised to revolutionize breast cancer detection. Here, take a look.
Breast cancer, a global menace, ranks among the deadliest cancers worldwide as per the World Health Organization. In India, it stands as the most prevalent cancer among women, with late-stage diagnosis posing a significant challenge. Factors like limited access to healthcare, deficient screening infrastructure, and cultural taboos hinder early detection efforts.
The survival odds for breast cancer in India lag behind the Western standards, mainly because of late detection and delayed treatment. But the screening I just went through is a game changer. It's painless, it's cost-effective, devoid of radiation, and the most important, that it can detect cancer much before the symptoms show. So join me as I unveil the innovation behind this.
Meet Niramay, a Bangalore-based health tech startup pioneering a novel approach to breast cancer screening. Their flagship product, Thermalytics, harnesses thermal imaging and AI algorithms to detect breast cancer at its nascent stage, when interventions yield the best results.
Niramay is a deep tech startup based out of Bangalore, where we have developed a new method of detecting breast cancer in a completely privacy-aware manner, using technologies such as artificial intelligence over medical images, where we just use a thermal sensor to measure the temperature variations on the chest and convert the temperature distribution to a cancer health report completely automatically using computer-aided analysis using artificial intelligence.
Unlike mammography, Niramay's solution is non-invasive and radiation-free, offering a more comfortable experience for women. Moreover, it requires no physical contact or specialized staff, making it accessible even in remote areas. Since its inception in 2016, Niramai has impacted over 2 lakh women across various cities. Their scalable technology can seamlessly integrate into existing healthcare infrastructure, expanding access to breast cancer screening in urban centers, rural clinics and community health centers alike.
So obviously as a cancer doctor, I want that I should be treating more women who are at early stage of breast cancer so that they survive better. Obviously for that a technology like Niramai definitely helps. When the cancer starts developing, the blood vessel would start developing and that area would have a vis-a-vis an increase in temperature vis-a-vis the surrounding area. So this is a infrared thermal image. So what does it do is that it takes a picture and it highlights the area where the temperature is vis-a-vis more as compared to the other parts.
Niramai, meaning health for everyone in Sanskrit, epitomizes the mission to democratize healthcare. By leveraging innovative solutions like Niramai's, we can unlock the power of technology to detect subtle signs of breast cancer, facilitating timely diagnosis and improving patient outcomes.
Tomorrow, as we celebrate National Technology Day, let's continue to champion these innovative endeavors that promises a healthier and equitable future for all.
Brought to you. Elections क्या है?
Election is basically a reality TV show जिससे बिग बॉस चुना जाता है. The biggest festival of democracy.
मेला है मेला.
हमारी आवाज.
Youth की आवाज. They make hashtags become a voting trend. They communicate their political views with memes. They turn their real ideas into reels. Youth makes elections a lot more fun, and we have just the right election shows for them. As India goes for its 18th general elections, join me, Arun Singh, for 18 Ka Vote only on NDTV. First-time voters, share your hopes and expectations from the leaders in the form of a video message. We'll feature select videos on NDTV.
Big news makers only on NDTV. Telangana Chief Minister on the BJP attack.
100 दिन में वो कितना आरोप लगा रहे मुझे समझ में नहीं आया.
Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister on obscene videos.
I am nowhere connected to it, and it is all their own blunder what they have made themselves.
Rajiv Chandrasekhar on the population report.
And changes to our demography and makeup of our population in the last few years, few decades.
Top news, top newsmakers on NDTV.
36 lakh farmer families affiliated with Amul across 18,600 villages of Gujarat have pledged to vote with their families during these elections. I would also urge you to take this pledge and vote as a part of the democratic process of our country.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Let's get you some international news now. And in a diplomatic breakthrough, 5 of the Indian sailors on board of that Israeli-linked vessel seized by Tehran have been released and have departed from Iran. The Indian embassy in Iran has confirmed, while sharing details of their release, thanked the Iranian authorities for their close coordination with the embassy and the Indian consulate. Now, we do know that 5 of the Indians will be sent back. They are sharing those details, talking about how they have been released by the authorities there. We have my colleague Ghazali joining us. Ghazali, 5 Indian sailors have been released and they are headed back home, but 11 Indian sailors still continue to remain in Iran.
Yeah, that is due to some contractual obligation between the company which owns the vessels and with the crew members. But a big diplomatic breakthrough for India, because first on 13th of April, this vessel was captured by Iran from the Strait of Hormuz. And after that, the Indian Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, established contact with his Iranian counterpart. And within a few weeks, the first female crew member, or the only crew member on that vessel, a female crew member, was from India. And she was sent back, she hailed from Kerala. Now, yesterday, another breakthrough was that five more Indian crew members from the same vessel have left Iran, have been sent back to India. So, and the rest of the 11 crew members will also be, or likely to be, released very soon, as per the Indian officials who are in touch with their Iranian counterpart in Tehran.
Right, thank you so much, Ghazali, for joining us with all those details. A major breakthrough there. Switching tracks now, Benjamin Netanyahu has said that Israel can stand alone after the United States went on to warn Israel that it could halt arms shipments if the Israeli Prime Minister ordered a full-scale invasion of Rafah in Gaza. Israeli warplanes struck Gaza's crowded southern city of Rafah. After that warning that was given out by the United States, Israel has already defied international objections by sending in tanks and conducting what it called targeted raids in the east of Rafah. The city, it says, is home to Hamas's last remaining battalion.
לצה"ל יש חימושים למשימות שהוא מתכנן, וגם למשימות ברפיח יש לנו את מה שאנחנו נזקקים לו. אני אומר את זה פה במסגרת כל מה שעלה עם ארצות הברית, וחשוב לומר את זה.
היום אנחנו הרבה יותר חזקים. אנחנו יותר חזקים, אנחנו נחושים, אנחנו מאוחדים כדי להביס את אויבינו, את מבקשי נפשנו. אם נצטרך לעמוד לבד, נעמוד לבד. אמרתי כבר שאם צריך נילחם בציפורניים, אבל יש לנו הרבה יותר מאשר ציפורניים. ובאותן תעצומות נפש, בעזרת השם, יחד ננצח.
We'll keep tracking all the developments in Israel. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
And finally, as the Kedarnath Dham reopens today, Chief Minister Dhami visits the Kedarnath Dham, which is all decked up for the grand opening. This is of Lord Kedarnath, is expected to reach the Dham today.
Brought to you. A debate has many facets. Perhaps no one right answer. Left, right, and center. Conversations that get to the core of the debate.
The 2024 Lok Sabha polls are crucial for the future of this country. Having covered elections for 35 years, I hope to cut through the cacophony of a long, hot summer campaign and help to understand and decode the issues, the challenges, and finally, the outcome.
As citizens of this great nation, we have the power to shape its future. And one of the most crucial ways we can do that is by casting our vote. It's not just a right for every citizen, it's a responsibility. A responsibility to ourselves, to our communities, and to our country. So, I urge all of you to exercise your right to vote. I always ensure that I fulfill this duty to our country.
आईपीएल का हल्ला बल्ला और सबसे शानदार कवरेज सिर्फ एनडीटीवी पर।
in our country. We choose our leaders, we decide who is going to be ruling the country, and it is something which is both a fantastic right, privilege, and we should also see it as our constitutional duty. So this election, I am going to be there, and I hope you all will join me in casting your vote too.
Data drives our understanding of any election. What does a dip in voting percentage mean? What are the big factors to watch out for this poll season? Join me, Amitav Tiwari, in a data deep dive only on NDTV, where we decode and simplify the data for you.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello, Moto.
You are watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Parmeshwar Bava. The Supreme Court will pronounce its verdict on Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's interim bail plea in a money laundering case connected to the excise policy scam. And in an important order, the Supreme Court has asked Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat to not give any new mining permissions in the Aravalis until further directions. All the details are lined up for you. Let's begin with the top stories you need to know. The Supreme Court is likely to give its verdict today on the interim bail plea to Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who was arrested on the 21st of March. The Enforcement Directorate, though, filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court on Thursday opposing Mr. Kejriwal's petition, saying that laws are equal for all and that campaigning for the Lok Sabha polls is not a fundamental right. Shocked by Haryana government's statement that there is no specific definition of areas which qualifies Aravali range, the Supreme Court has barred Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana and Delhi from granting fresh mining leases in the battered ecosystem of India's oldest mountain range. In a major breakthrough in the Air India Express crisis, which had led to the cancellation of over 170 flights since Wednesday, the airline's management has sent letters reinstating all the crew members who had been sacked for taking part in the mass leave protests. The Haryana political crisis, well, the Congress and JJP demand a floor test and seek time with the governor. In a diplomatic breakthrough, 5 of the Indian sailors on board an Israeli-linked vessel seized by Tehran were released and have departed from Iran. The Israeli Prime Minister is defiant despite warnings from the US administration. Mr. Netanyahu says he can stand alone and Israel strikes Rafah as the ceasefire talks end with no deal. Virat Kohli, already the orange cap holder of this IPL season, broke another record to become the only batter to score 1,000 runs against 3 oppositions.
So the leg spin way was waiting that the moment the ball is there in the arm.
Well, our big focus. The Supreme Court is likely to give its verdict today on Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's interim bail plea. He was arrested on the 21st of March, as you know, by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case linked to the alleged liquor policy scam and is seeking a release from jail in order to campaign for the ongoing Lok Sabha elections. A bench comprising Justices Sanjeev Khanna and Dipankar Datta had reserved its verdict on the interim bail to Mr. Kejriwal back on the 7th. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party said the legal team of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has raised strong objections to the affidavit that's been filed by the Enforcement Directorate opposing interim bail for Mr. Kejriwal in the Supreme Court. The party actually said that a complaint has been lodged with the Supreme Court's registry denouncing the ED's affidavit as a blatant disregard of legal procedures, considering that the matter is already slated for a final decision in the top court today. Tanushka Datta is tracking the latest developments for us. She joins us live at the moment. Tanushka, what time is the Supreme Court expected to pass the order on Arvind Kejriwal's interim bail plea?
Right. So most likely the Supreme Court is likely to pass an order on the interim bail plea of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal later in the day today. What we know as of now is the Supreme Court might be passing an order on the case this afternoon, and the proceedings will begin shortly. I'm standing outside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters where Delhi Minister Saurabh Bhardwaj is most likely to address the media in a bit, and this will most probably be regarding the affidavit that the Enforcement Directorate has filed opposing the bail plea. The Aam Aadmi Party has constantly, right from the beginning of the arrest of Delhi Chief Minister, has said that this whole case is a conspiracy against the Aam Aadmi Party and that the probe agency has acted on the behest of the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is what the Aam Aadmi Party has claimed of right from the beginning. And remember, Arvind Kejriwal has been in jail since March 21st and he's still in judicial custody. His judicial custody was extended up to May 20th in the last court hearing by the Apex Court. What the officials also say is that the Enforcement Directorate may be filing a fresh charge sheet soon, which will be having the names of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and BRS leader K. Kavita as the accused. What we know right now is that the Supreme Court will soon give an order on the bail plea, interim bail plea of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. And we are likely to get the updates in by afternoon.
Right, thanks, Tanushka. We will, of course, touch base with you if Saurabh Bhardwaj does speak to the media outside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. Ishika Verma also with us at the moment. Ishika, ahead of the Supreme Court's verdict, the Enforcement Directorate reached out to the Apex Court. But break down for our viewers the details of what the ED has said.
Well, yesterday the ED had in fact submitted an affidavit in the Supreme Court where it has said that political campaigning, right to interim bail for political campaigning is neither a fundamental right nor is it a constitutional right. Now, Enforcement Directorate has also said that it will be the first time if any politician gets an interim bail for political campaigning, and that too when Arvind Kejriwal is not even contesting elections. Now, moreover, Enforcement Directorate also said that it will set a bad precedent since, it will give a leverage to the politicians to commit crimes and, in fact, to avoid investigation in the garb of elections. So these were the three main points that were made by the Enforcement Directorate in its affidavit to the Supreme Court. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party's legal team, in fact, has reacted on this. Just a way of delaying the order because Enforcement Directorate knew that today the order is going to be pronounced, and yet they are, at the last moment, they are submitting it, that too without Supreme Court asking for it. So the Aam Aadmi Party's legal team goes on to say that this is just another tactic of the Enforcement Directorate to delay the much-awaited interim bail order of Arvind Kejriwal. So it will certainly be very interesting to see if Supreme Court, in fact, today pronounces the order over the interim bail of Arvind Kejriwal and if he gets any kind of relief after that. But remember, today the hearing is also going to resume over the main matter. Now, the main matter certainly is that Kejriwal, in fact, challenging his arrest. So over that also, it is expected that Singhvi, appearing for Kejriwal, will make his arguments today. Over to you.
As always, Ashika, thanks so much for taking us through the details. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is also expected to hear former Chief Minister Hemant Soren's bail plea. He moved the Supreme Court on Monday against the Jharkhand High Court order, dismissing his application challenging his arrest by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case linked to an alleged land scam. His lawyer Kapil Sibal said in court that polling in Jharkhand for the Lok Sabha elections will commence on the 13th of May, and Mr. Soren should be allowed to campaign for his party, JMM. The other big story we're tracking on NDTV. In an important order, the Supreme Court has asked Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat to not give any new mining permissions in the Aravalis until further directions. Striking a balance between protecting the environment and the livelihood of the people engaged in mining activities, the court stressed, however, that its order will not in any way be construed as a stay on mining already being carried out in the range with valid permits and licenses, of course. But as you know, the Haryana government had sought the Supreme Court's approval to begin mining in the Aravalis in Gurugram as well as Faridabad. The court had also actually ordered the setting up of a committee to prepare a uniform definition of the Aravali Hills and Range. The panel, which has been asked to submit a report within 2 months, will consist of the Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, the Forest and Climate Change secretaries, and we're also told that secretaries of 4 states and 1 representative each from the Forest Survey of India and the Central Empowered Committee will be taking part as well. Vedant is tracking the latest for us. He joins us live. Vedant, now the Supreme Court has banned fresh mining in the Aravalis till further orders, but the top court has clarified that ongoing mining activities are not suspended?
That's right. That's a very important point there that you're making, Parmeshwar, because remember the Supreme Court sort of made it clear that it's against illegal mining and not mining per se, because remember the Supreme Court noted that mining per se does not have any bad ramifications as far as the environment is concerned. Now, 2 important things. One, that a committee has been formed, as you rightly pointed out, and secondly, all 4 states, not just the Delhi NCR region, but also Gujarat, Rajasthan and Haryana, have been asked to come up with a uniform definition of what consists of the Aravalis really, because remember the Supreme Court sort of expressed its shock, saying that we do not even have a uniform definition of what consists of Aravali, and it's a sorry state of affairs. So strong observations there by the Supreme Court, and now a committee has been formed and it has to come up with a uniform definition that is important for the preservation of the Aravalis. Now remember, the Aravalis act as a sort of a natural barrier from sort of preventing dry and sort of arid climate conditions to actually penetrate the national capital, which is why it's so important to preserve the Aravalis. There were multiple petitions in the Supreme Court. The amicus curiae in the case, the advocate K. Parmeshwar actually said that there should be a blanket ban on mining, but that is something that the Supreme Court has sort of clarified, that there will be no renewals and there will be no fresh leases. So of course the mining activities that are already underway, there will be no sort of setback for them, but no renewals and no fresh granting of lease. So certainly it's a good news as far as the environment is concerned, particularly for the Delhi NCR.
Good news indeed, as always. Thanks so much, Vedant, for joining us with the latest details. As Vedant is reporting, the court has also ordered the setting up of a committee to prepare a uniform definition of the Aravali Hills and Range. With that, let's turn our attention now to the complaint that's been filed against Sanjay Raut for remarks against Narendra Modi. BJP leader Dharampal Meshram has filed a complaint. In fact, Mr. Meshram alleges that Sanjay Raut made derogatory remarks against Narendra Modi. The BJP says Mr. Raut's comments can lead to communal disharmony. The BJP has also filed a complaint over the Berry comment, is what we're being told, and reached out to the Election Commission over the comment. In fact, we have Mr. Raut's reaction lined up. Let's listen in to what Sanjay Raut had to say.
उसी तरह से मोदी जी और शाह जी उसी तरह से महाराष्ट्र के ऊपर हमले कर रहे हैं, महाराष्ट्र को तोड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं, महाराष्ट्र लूटने की कोशिश करते हैं। उसमें मिर्ची लगने की क्या जरूरत है किसी को? मैंने तो किसी को औरंगजेब नहीं कहा है कि ये एक विकृति है, एक वृत्ति है। जे महाराष्ट्रावर चाल करून येतील त्यांना गाडू, व्यक्तिगत नाही। हा इतिहास आहे, हे संयुक्त महाराष्ट्राच्या लढ्यापासून ही भाषा आम्ही बोलतो। ज्यांनी ज्यांनी महाराष्ट्रावर हल्ले करून महाराष्ट्राला खतम करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला, त्यांना याच मातीत आम्ही गाडलेलं आहे. मग अफजल खान असेल, शाहिस्ते खान असेल, औरंगजेब असेल, असे अनेक लोक आहेत ज्यांनी महाराष्ट्रावर हल्ले केले, त्यांना आम्ही गाडलं. महाराष्ट्र हा आम्ही संघर्ष करून मिळवलेला आहे, हौतात्म्य देऊन मिळवलेला आहे. याच्यामध्ये काय चुकीचं आहे का? नाही ना. एवढं त्यांना मिरच्या झोंबायचं कारण काय? मग औरंगजेबाचे लावा, तुमच्या मोदींच्या बाजूला फोटो लावा. तुम्ही त्याच वृत्तीचे लोक आहात, क्रूर, सुडबुद्धीने वागणार.
In other news, Air India Express has agreed to reinstate 25 cabin crew who were terminated after a large number of them reported sick since the 6th of May, while the flight crew have agreed to report to duty following a meeting mediated by the Chief Labour Commissioner in New Delhi yesterday. Now let's go across to my colleague Sam Daniel, who joins us live with an update from Chennai at the moment. Sam, sources have informed us that 100% restoration is expected from the 13th of May as far as flight operations are concerned. But where you are in Chennai, 6 domestic and international flights have been restored?
That's right. That's the positive development, Parameshwar, at the Chennai airport. 6 flights, including 2 international flights connecting Singapore and Kuwait, besides domestic flights to Hyderabad, Guwahati, Kolkata and Bengaluru have been restored. And this is the positive development. But the larger picture is that airline authorities say it would take at least till the 13th of May for 100% restoration of Air India Express services, because technically many of those crew members who reported sick when they went on strike have to now get themselves certified medically before they could join for work, and that would take some time. To expedite that, Air India Express, they say, has installed an internal hotline number facility so that they could call that number and they would arrange the expedition of certification medically. And weekend is coming up, so they're not committing 100% restoration immediately, but from 13th they would say there would be a total restoration of Air India Express services. In Chennai, passengers who had earlier booked on Air India Express can either take the restored services or they still have the option to get 100% refund of their tickets and go for other airlines. The challenge for those passengers is that it's vacation time. Last minute bookings could be very, very expensive, and they may have to shell out maybe double or triple the cost of the original fare if they have to urgently travel. But for passengers in smaller airports like Trichy, Madurai and Coimbatore, limited international air connectivity, and for them it will completely disrupt their services. The Air India Express says by noon they would give another updated release on the restoration of services, how much still would remain cancelled, and we'll have to wait for that. Parameshwar.
Touch base with you post 12 noon for that latest update from AI Express. Thanks so much as always, Sam, for joining us with the latest. News and updates continue as always on NDTV 24/7. We're taking a quick break for now.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
Big news makers only on NDTV. Telangana Chief Minister on the BJP attack.
100 दिन में वो कितना आरोप लगा रहे मुझे समझ में नहीं आया.
Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister on obscene videos.
I am nowhere connected to it, and it is all their own blunder what they have made themselves.
Rajiv Chandrasekhar on the population report.
And changes to our demography and makeup of our population in the last few years, few decades.
Top news, top newsmakers on NDTV. It's
the essence of democracy, and we stand firmly behind it. We are thrilled to join NDTV's pledge.
It's the world's biggest festival of the power of a vote and the power of a citizen.
It is a day we must answer our call to duty as citizens of India.
We get this opportunity to determine how our country will be governed.
It is this constitutional duty through which we can make a difference in our nation's future.
And make India always a better place than it was yesterday.
I certainly plan to vote as long as I'm able to vote.
We are joining NDTV's Pledge to Vote initiative.
Let us make democracy stronger by going out and exercising our franchise. Jai Hind.
First gadget that we have for this week's episode is this. The all-new Xiaomi 14 Ultra. I mean, ये जो phone है, this is a flagship device from Xiaomi. Packs a lot. मतलब, if you talk about the in-hand feel, the device is really premium. The camera is made in collaboration with Leica. I mean, जो lenses हैं वो Leica ने बना के दिए हैं, and the entire hardware is really fantastic. The phone feels like a flagship phone. काफी interesting features हैं, things like the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. We have a nice Quad HD Plus display, 5000 mAh battery, and I mean everything packed in this nice looking package. Let's have a closer look कि आखिर क्या features हैं all together इस Xiaomi 14 Ultra में, and then I'm gonna tell you what do I think. मतलब इस फोन के बारे में मेरे क्या thoughts हैं, so that you can make an informed decision of buying or not buying this phone.
Forget ordinary. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra has arrived to redefine smartphone power. Its massive 6.73-inch display doesn't just boast
Under attack from opposition parties over Odia Asmita, the Biju Janata Dal focused on preservation and promotion of Odia language, culture and heritage in its manifesto that's just been released. The BJD chief and Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik released the manifesto along with senior party leader